Okay, everybody, I'm here to give you sort of an updated look, not at my entire collection, but mainly at the books of my Berenstain Bear collection. That's right, these are the books that I've collected for quite some time. In fact, I've collected them, I think, since about the early to mid 2000s. And the reason I've collected them is because I recently discovered, back around 2003, PBS was doing their own reversion, their own remake, if you will, of the Berenstain Bear cartoon series. In case some of you don't know, the Berenstain Bears had a cartoon series originally had a cartoon series back in the mid 80s, from 85 to 87, and that sprang from the fact that from 79 to about 84, I believe, they would have yearly specials. I think they would have, the first special was a Christmas special, then I think they had a Valentine's Day special, then I think they had a Thanksgiving special, then they had, I believe, a spring baseball type special, stuff like that. And that's what sprang, and that is what caused Nirvana Animation and Nirvana and Southern Star Animation, which was at the time Southern Star Animation, which was at the time a division of Hanna-Barbera Animation, or Hanna-Barbera Studios, to work with Dick Entertainment to bring out the Berenstain Bear cartoon series, like I said, the original one, which ran from 85 to 87. And then from 2003 to about 2005, they brought the series back on PBS in an all-new format. And it was because of the success of the new series that Dick Entertainment, at the time, years before Cookie Jar bought them out, Dick Entertainment had a Saturday morning kids block, had a weekend morning kids block, if you will, Saturday and Sunday, so they were able to show the original Berenstain Bear cartoon, along with a few other cartoons back then as well. So let's take a look at the books in which the cartoon series was inspired by, that I have. Now, some of these you may have heard of, some of these books, maybe not. Now, this here is part of the Family Times book series. This one here, I think you can see that. This one is called the Bedtime Story. This is the Berenstain Bears Bedtime Story. This was one of the, like I said, this was part of the Family Time book series. This is basically Berenstain Bears. Basically, what they would do is they would bring out these big book things, and basically you had stories in them, just like they basically almost like expanded versions of what you see in the littler books, but they were shorter and they were kind of to the point. So there's that one. And then right here I have Berenstain Bears Go on Vacation. These were again part of the bigger books that they had. These were kind of newer. And they sort of rhymed in story. And these came out, I think, in the mid 2000s as well, I believe. Yeah, 2006 is when this one came out. So, but this is the Berenstain Bears Go on Vacation. And again, this came out about 2006. This one was released. And right here, Easter Surprise. Again, this was sort of based off their a special, or inspired by a special. And again, it mostly was in rhyme at times. And this was originally released in 1998. Again, the story is based on a special back from the early 80s. And it basically talks about an Easter that brother had when he was younger, before sister was born. So that's what this is based on. I'm sorry for the pause there. I was just looking at some of the things there. some of the pictures. And then right here we have the Berenstain Bears Save Christmas. This is sort of a new Christmas story. It came out in 2003, and it came along with an audio book, which also had four other stories on there. It has Meet Santa Bear, Thanksgiving, Prize Pumpkin, and Comic Valentine, and includes an interview with Stan and Jan and Mike Berenstain. It's a 1-hour cassette. I'm pretty sure they got a CD on it somewhere. But this both came out in 2003. I'm just surprised they haven't made a animated special out of this yet. So that's pretty good. It's pretty cool though. Matter of fact, I think the tape. Yeah, there's the tape right there. Again, I don't know if they have a CD version out. And right here we have Berenstain Bears Go Back to School. This was brought out, I believe, if I look at the year, 2005. This was brought out back then, so that's pretty cool. Basically, again, it's in rhyme. There's no doubt about that. I'm pretty sure of it. The Cubs and their friends' first day at school, so that's pretty fun. So that's an interesting read right there. Then right here we have the Berenstain Bears Thanksgiving. This was released in 1997, but this is based off the Berenstain Bears Meet Big Paw, basically the Thanksgiving special from the early 80s. So that's what this is inspired from. And this one, of course, is Comic Valentine. This was based off, of course, the Comic Valentine special from the early 80s. And this was released in 1998 as a book. So it's pretty cool. Kind of follows the special to a T. Then here, I had the money to do it, and I think it was the only one I could find. Berenstain Bears Clean House. It's a beginning reading book. So it goes by, like, different levels, like my first reading, beginning reading, reading with help, reading alone, and advanced reading. So that's how they score these books right here. But it's a nice little book, good for kids. Then we come to probably the most talked about books, or one of the most talked about books there are. Here we have the Big Chapter Book series. Now the Big Chapter Book series, in case you don't know, is a series of books aimed at older readers. In other words, right here it says reading level 6 to 7. In other words, if you're 6 or 7 years old, you could read this, or if you're looking at a reading level, it's more like 6th grade, 7th grade. So that's either way you could look at it, by age or grade. I look at it more like grade, like this could be more of a 6th to 7th grade book, because the Big Chapter Book series deals with a lot of more mature issues and older issues and stuff like that. And they're more like a novel, more like a graphic novel. And, Mike Berenstain said in an interview he did that the Big Chapter Book series was aimed towards more the older readers, older kids. So it was pretty good, and it introduced some new characters. Like one of the most popular characters introduced out of there was, I think, Bonnie Brown. She became very popular, I believe, and she's one of the main focuses of of the story. That would be her right there. Then here we have another one. It's called Gotta Dance. This is one of the first ones they did, and this also involves Bonnie Brown. But basically it involves the fact that brother doesn't know how to dance, and he wants to dance so he could take Bonnie Brown to the spring dance that they got to go to. So he basically has to strike up a deal with Sister's ballet teacher to teach him how to dance. Now they do, in the PBS cartoon series, they do a remake of this special. They do a remake of this book, I should say, and the book, and it kind of follows similar in a way, but it's not Sister's ballet teacher that teaches him how to dance, it's his own mom. And you'd have to see the episode to see what I'm talking about. Then here we have New Girl in Town. This introduced Bonnie Brown. That's her again right there. It introduced her. And we find out she's I think if I think of his name right now, she's Squire Grizzly's niece. So it's a really good story. You got to check these out. If you ever find these online somewhere, eBay or something, definitely check them out. Then here we have The Big Date. This is basically where brother gets a little jealous over somebody else coming in to date Bonnie, somebody that's kind of is acting in a way he doesn't really want to be. Basically, he's acting the way he doesn't want to be, if you get what I'm saying. So, but it's an interesting read. That's the other one. Then here we have the Berenstain Bears go platinum. Mainly the main focus on this is the main music teacher. I think her name is Miss Glitch. Is more of a classical lover of music. So for like the musical, if you know I think it's called the musical or something like that. I'm not really sure. I have to check that out again. I haven't read these in a while. Musical, or musical as it's called. You know, she wants classical music, but the Cubs, they want their music. They want rock music. They want alternative music. They want all kinds. And she's against this, so that so brother, sister, you know, and the friends have to do whatever it takes to get the musicale not to be one-sided, but have all kinds of variety music. Now, here we have Dress Code. This is an interesting read. Basically, it deals with something that even today we deal with, and that's kind of how kids and teenagers dress in school. Sometimes it's appropriate, sometimes it's not. And the way this story really takes off and gets started is this character here. This is Queenie McBear. You may have seen her in the PBS series if you have. Shows up wearing a miniskirt, basically something her mom wore back, I think, in the 70s or 60s or whatever. And she gets in trouble for it and sent home without the principal knowing. She gets sent home by the Miss Glitch character without the principal knowing. So the Cubs basically have to fight for the right to wear what they want, or at least wear some unusual clothing without getting in trouble. Then we have Phenom in the Family. This is basically where sister kind of outdoes brother when it comes to swimming, and he gets a little jealous, but then encourages her. But then we find out that sister really doesn't want to swim anymore, and we also find out that it's affecting her grades. So Then here we have the Teen Rock Cafe one. This is Teen Rock Cafe. And the new music teacher, if you will, her name is Miss Aprego, seems to be more of a classical-like teacher and kind of intimidating. But then we find out that because the Cubs need a place to hang out, since there's been a lot of thefts at the local mall, they find out that she's actually more than what they thought. There's more to her than what they thought. So it's an interesting read. Then here we have No Guns Allowed. This is basically it deals with, you know, the issue of guns and how not to bring them to school and stuff. I'm sorry for the pause there, I was flipping through the pages. Then here we have some of the other, I guess you could say, little Apple books, but these are kind of like big chapter books. These are Berenstain Bear Scout books, and this one's called the Magic Crystal Caper. This one is called the Back Scratcher, and some of these are actually inspired and based off of the original episodes from the original 80s cartoon. Here we have the Berenstain Bear Scouts and the Giant Bat Cave. And I have two copies of this, Berenstain Bears and the Ghost vs. Ghost. It's kind of a tight squeeze for a lot of my books. I'm sorry for the bird in the background. He always seems to like chirp. He always likes to chirp when I'm doing something, so I don't know why. Oops. Gotta put these in order. Here we go. Now here we have the female fullback. This was actually adapted into an episode for the PBS series, just like Gotta Dance. But the difference is, it's not about a girl who wants to try out for the football team because, you know, she's got the size and the muscle to do it. The PBS version deals with a girl that's teaching them, you know, that is big enough to be, you know, the secret, big enough or good enough basically to join the football team, but she doesn't want to, but she's willing to help them in the areas that they need help. So, but it's an interesting read. You definitely got to check that one out. And again, we have more of the Scout ones, if you will. We have more Scout ones. We have the Berenstain Bear Scouts Rip-Off Crean. We have Berenstain Bear Scouts Evil Eye, Berenstain Bear Scouts Sinister Smokewing, Berenstain Bear Scouts The Coughing Catfish, and Berenstain Bear Scouts Run Amok Robot. And again, just like I said, some of these are actually based off the episodes from the original mid to late 80s cartoon. Like this one's Back Scratcher again, Giant Bat Cave. This one is sort of like a chapter book. But it's more of a stepping stone book. So what it is, it's called Berenstain Bears and the Haunted Lighthouse. This was actually made into a PBS episode as well. This one right here. Then we have Humongous Pumpkin with the Berenstain Bear Scouts. Here we have Berenstain Bear Scouts and the Sci-Fi Pizza. Here we have the Berenstain Bear Scouts meet Big Paw. Here I have the Berenstain Bears and the Tailbowl Talking Termite, again based off an episode from the mid-80s cartoon, or the original cartoon series I should say. Here we have Berenstain Bears, Scouts, and the Ice Monster. And here we have the Berenstain Bears, Scouts scream their heads off. Oh, we got the fire department out here. I don't know why, but we do. There we go. Have to fit them in there. It's kind of hard. I gotta get myself a bookshelf for these. Honestly, I do. Now here we have another copy of The New Girl in Town. This was actually my first copy right here of The New Girl in Town. Then here, let's move that to the side, we have, these are big chapter books now. These are the big chapter book series. Berenstain Bears and the School Scandal Sheet. It deals with, well, you get the idea by reading the title. Here we have Love Match. Here we have Ghost of the Auto Graveyard. Here we have The Galloping Ghost. Here we have another Stepping Stone book, which is too small for the team. Again, this was adapted into an episode for the new PBS series. Here we have The Red-Handed Thief. Here we have Perfect Crime, Ant Attack, Giddy Grandma, adapted into a PBS episode. Drug Free Zone, I think the title can tell you what it deals with. Accept No Substitutes. This was actually based off an 80s version of the episode, an episode from the 80s cartoon. And then here we have another copy of Galloping Ghost and the G-Rex Bones. So, yeah, I have a lot of them, so go figure. That's fine. Then over here we have more of them, believe it or not. Checking my time here. Okay. I don't know if I'll get through all of these, so I apologize if I don't. But here we have Lost in Cyberspace. Here we have Freaky Funhouse. Here we have Camp Crush. Here we have Bermuda Triangle. This is, I think if you read a little bit into it, you kind of get the idea. If you look at the cover too. Again, another copy of Teen Rock Cafe. Wheelchair Commando. You read the title, you kind of get the idea. Queenie's Crazy Crush. You have to read that to kind of get an understanding. Media Madness. Showdown at Chainsaw Gap. And here we have Maniac Mansion, Haunted Hayride. Again, another copy of Accept No Substitutes. Wax Museum. Another copy of Red-Handed Thief. And The Nerdy Nephew. Now, let's take a look at some of the books that I have of the famous first-time books. Very famous first-time books. Here we have some of my new ones, like Come Clean for School, Say the Prayers. This is part of the Living Light series, first-time books. Go to Sunday School, again part of the Living Light series. Golden Rule, part of the Living Light series. God Loves You, part of the Living Light series, also first-time book. Bad Influence, part of the first-time book series. Lose a Friend, part of the first-time book series. Big Question, of course, part of the big-time book series. Don't Pollute Anymore, part of the big-time book series. Too Much TV, part of the big-time book series. Blame Game, which is also part of it. Mama's Day Surprise, Too Much Pressure, Mad Mad Toy Craze, Berenstain Bears and the Truth, Get Stage Fright, Berenstain Bears Bad Dream, one of my favorites, Prize Pumpkin, Trouble with Grown-Ups, okay, now this one here, Mama's New Job, Slumber Party, and Berenstain Bears in the Big Blooper, the Berenstain Bears in the Trouble with Commercials, Berenstain Bears Hug and Make Up, Berenstain Bears and Too Much Car Trip, Berenstain Bears Go to School, Berenstain Bears Go to the Doctor, Berenstain Bears Trouble with Money, Berenstain Bears into Troubles with Chores, Berenstain Bears Bedtime Battle, Berenstain Bears Meet Santa Bear, The Birds and the Bees and the Berenstain Bears, Berenstain Bears and the Real Easter Eggs, Berenstain Bears and Baby Makes 5, Berenstain Bears Report Card Trouble, okay, let's see if I got enough time. Should have plenty, I hope. Berenstain Bears Computer Trouble, one of my newer ones. Berenstain Bears Faithful Friends, part of the Living Light series. Berenstain Bears Gossip Gang, part of the Living Light series. Berenstain Bears Show Some Respect, part of the Living Light series. Berenstain Bears and the Big Spelling Bee, another copy of the Big Spelling Bee. Berenstain Bears and My Funny Valentine. Berenstain Bears Count the Blessings. Berenstain Bears Trick or Treat. Berenstain Bears and the Papa's Day Surprise, a Father's Day book. Berenstain Bears and Too Much Vacation, Berenstain Bears Homework Hassle, Berenstain Bears and the Double Dare, Berenstain Bears New Neighbors, Berenstain Bears Get the Kicks, Berenstain Bears New Girls Aloud, Berenstain Bears Think of Those in Need, Berenstain Bears and the Bully, and then here we move these aside for a second, do this real quickly. Berenstain Bears Go on a Ghost Walk, Berenstain Bears and Too Much Birthday, Berenstain Bears Dollar and Cents, Berenstain Bears in the Messy Room, the most successful book that, according to Mike Berenstain, that they have. Berenstain Bears in the Dark, Berenstain Bears Lend a Helping Hand, Berenstain Bears and Too Much Junk Food, another copy of Too Much Junk Food, Berenstain Bears and Too Much Teasing, Berenstain Bears and the Excuse Note, Berenstain Bears Trouble at School, another copy of The Birds and the Bees and the Berenstain Bears, Berenstain Bears Trouble with Friends, Berenstain Bears Go Out for the Team. And those all together are my Berenstain Bear book, are part of my Berenstain Bears book collection. So I hope you guys all enjoyed them. Comment down below if you like. Tell me what you thought of it. Do you have any of the books? Do you still collect them? Let me know. I hope not to be the only one that does. And I'm not ashamed of it though, because I enjoy reading them. But let me know if any of you guys do. And again, leave your comments. Tell me what you guys think. Did you enjoy them? And I will talk to you all later. You all have a good Monday.